abonner à la chaîne, cela nous aide énormément pour l'évolution et le référencement de la chaîne.
Part 2, I'm borrowing some information from my sister, Dr. Patricia Newton, one of the baddest minds on the planet. She talks about the brain and how the, oh yeah, give the sister a hand. She studies the brain, and as we should know, the brain is an associative organ that is shaped by the sensory input that it receives. Your brain processes, our brain processes 400 billion bits of information every single second. But we are only conscious of 2,000 bits of information every single second. Our brain is picking up everything around us all the time and has done since the beginning of time. That is how powerful this 3-pound organ is within our skull. Right? So, what's significant about the brain, and that neurologists are just now beginning to discover, is this idea of neuroplasticity, all right? Which is a scientific term that describes the brain's process to be molded and shaped by the sensory information that comes into it. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you feel through spirit is all processed by your brain, which sends messages to every part of your body, telling you what's going on and also telling you how to respond to that information. So it is your mirror neurons, right? Your mirror neurons, which are receptors in the brain that cause it to internalize or mirror what it sees, what it hears, what it feels. So what you see is who you become. What you hear is what you do. So whoever controls your brain, this organ that processes everything that your senses pick up, whoever controls your brain controls you, controls your children, controls your grandchildren, controls your great-great-grandchildren. That's why this knowledge is too powerful to leave in the hands of the walking dead. So folk use this information. And so then we have to understand very clearly how this information, how this knowledge has been used to manipulate you through the media, through television specifically. Television is the most powerful tool of manipulation ever created on this planet. Let's be clear. Television is a reality delivery system. Television is a passive activity because you sit down and you watch it and you open your soul to the people who create all of the content that you watch on television. Television programs are designed to make consumers out of viewers. Television programmers determine what shows make it on the air. Television is free. Commercial television is free only because advertisers pay to buy airtime and produce commercials so that businesses can sell their products to consumers. All we are consumers. That's all we are. That is all we are. In the eyes of the businesses that run the world, not just this country, because there's only a handful of people who control the media. It's only a handful of people who control every government on this planet, and they call the shots. So let's be clear about that. So as long as commercial television is free, it is governed by the FCC, right? And the FCC and censors determine what advertisers and what programmers can and cannot do, say, and sell. So commercial television has limitations. Cable TV, on the other hand, is free from those restrictions. Cable TV is buck wild. You can say anything, you can do anything, you can sell anything on cable television. You know, they can't sell cigarettes on commercial television anymore. They can't advertise hard liquor on commercial television anymore because those products have been determined by the government to be bad for your health. And so it is illegal to advertise them on commercial television, but you can advertise them on cable because there are no restrictions. So in the 1960s, television programmers were more honest about how they molded your opinions and shaped your consciousness. At least they were more honest when it came to science fiction programming, instead of sitcoms and dramas and game shows. So I want to show you a couple of brief clips to illustrate that fact. Two very significant science fiction shows of the 1960s were The Twilight Zone and Outer Limits. So I want to show you the intro to The Twilight Zone, and I've got to cue this up for you, so bear with me.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can change the focus to a soft blur or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits.
They told you how they were going to manipulate you. Exactly what they were going to do. So, mental manipulation today is more covert than it was long ago. So let's look at a couple of things. How do television programs get selected? That's an important thing to understand so that you can know how what you're seeing got on the air. And to help explain how that happens, I want to introduce my friend Samuel What's in Your Wallet Jackson, right? And if you've seen the movie Pulp Fiction, which is a classic movie, one of my favorite movies, there's a brief scene in the beginning of the movie where Sam Jackson talks about a television pilot. It's all the way up, brother. He talks about a television pilot. So,
what's her name?
Mia.
Mia. How did Marcel's and her meet?
I don't know. However people meet people. She used to be an actress.
Oh, really? Did she do anything out of scene?
And I think her biggest deal was she starred in a pilot.
Pilot? What's a pilot?
Well, you know the shows on TV?
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
Yeah.
Well, the way they pick TV shows is they make one show. That show's called a pilot. Then they show that one show to the people who pick shows, and on the strength of that one show, they decide if they want to make more shows. Some get chosen and become television programs. Some don't, become nothing. She starred in one of the ones that became nothing.
So it's in this context that television is an instrument of emotional and mental manipulation, social engineering. Yeah. So this is the context in which I'm going to discuss, dissect, analyze, and critique Empire. So let me begin by showing you the pilot, the commercial for the pilot for Empire, so that you'll get a feel for what this show is all about.
I started selling drugs when I was 9 years old. I did it to feed myself. But it was music that played through my mind that kept me alive when I thought I was going to get shot. And it was the lyrics that I dreamt about that kept me warm while I was sleeping in the streets. Music saved my life.
You got ALS.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
How long I got?
3 years. Most likely less.
I want Empire to be here long after I'm gone. I need to start grooming a successor, and it can only be one of you. Put your heart and guts into this company.
Which makes me the most qualified to run the company, Dad.
You never picked me anyway. Way too much homophobia in the black community.
Your sexuality, that's a choice, sir.
You know he's gonna leave it all to a king, don't you?
You need to get your act together.
I'm working on new stuff now, you know that.
You ain't worked a day in your life, and you know that.
I've been living like a dog for 17 years, and now I want what's mine. You forgot about me the second you divorced me in there. It was my $400,000 that started this, and I want half my company back. I will take down anything that gets in my way.
Take that bass out of your voice when you talking to me. From this point forward, I want to know everything she's doing. Everything.
What if your two brothers end up going to war?
And I'm the last man standing.
If we do end up working with her and Pop's handling me, best believe they try to make us kill each other.
I got information, and if it gets out, so-called legacy of yours is dead. You can fool this country, you legit, but I know you a punk-ass gangster.
I just want you to know, everything I did was for you and your brothers.
Do you want to be a prince or do you want to be the king?
I want to be the king.
Then claim your throne.
My two sons, both are releasing new albums. I need you to sing like you're gonna die tomorrow. Like this is the last song you will ever sing. To the Empire.
All right, so let me ask you, and be honest, how many of you all have watched, all right, you're already answering it already. How many of you all have watched at least 5 episodes of Empire? Raise your hand, be honest, you know, ain't nothing to be ashamed of. All right, thank you very much. So, how many of you all who watched at least 5 episodes like the show, like what you saw? Be honest, raise your hand, man, come on now. If you can't be honest with yourself, who can you be honest with, all right? So, yeah, I have to admit that in preparing for this lecture today, I watched Empire. I watched all the episodes. And I do have to say that it's a guilty pleasure. You watch it and it's exciting, the music is good, the people look good, all this stuff is happening, there's lots of drama, and you get addicted to it. You want to see what's going to happen next week. You know, you begin to invest in the personalities. And that's the draw of television. You know, that's what soap operas are all about. It's melodramatic, right? And it's designed to pull on your emotions and draw you into the show. So it's designed to do that. So don't feel bad if you like it. Television, Empire is electronic crack. You can't help yourself. Once you get a taste, you're gonna come back for another, and another, and another, and another. And then you be jonesing for Empire when it goes off. You need to get your fix. Understand that, it's a drug. It's got everything that the creators know black folk like, want, and need. So, let's really understand why we are attracted to Empire. Let's understand why we are attracted to Empire. So let's look at why we're attracted to Empire. Why do you think we're attracted to Empire? Why do you think we're attracted to Empire? Because we see black people. We see ourselves. And when we see ourselves, when you all look at a picture, the first thing you're going to do, you look at a picture in the crowd, the first thing you're going to do is look for yourself in the crowd. You want to see if your hair looks good. You want to see if your clothes are straight. You want to see if you're standing properly because you want to impress, right? And that's part of your nature. That's part of human nature. Everybody wants to see themselves, especially on television, especially in movies. Because to see yourselves in an environment like that means that you are important. Means that people are going to notice you. It gives you a good psychological feeling. That's those mirror neurons working. You want to see yourself looking good. When you see somebody who looks good, you want to imagine yourself. Oh yeah, I like that hairstyle. I need to get that hairstyle. I like that dress. I like those shoes. I need to get that dress and those shoes because I want to look as good as Cookie does. Huh? Everybody does it. It's psychological, emotional, economic manipulation because you're consumers. That's all you are. You're supposed to consume the content and then try everything that you can to look like the people who you have consumed. Huh? There's an old expression, you are what you eat. You are also what you watch. You're also what you hear. Whatever comes into your body becomes natural to your body and you become it. That's simple, that's basic. So the important question to ask is, who are the people who are evoking all of these feelings inside of us? Who are they? This is who they are. So let's ask the question again. Who is Danny Strong? What y'all know about him? Because he's the person that's creating all of those emotions inside of your body. Is he a friend or an enemy? Who is Lee Daniels? What is his background? How much love does he have for you? Who is Aileen Chaikin? Who is she? Where does she come from? What is her mission? And until you can answer those questions intelligently, you shouldn't be watching this program because you don't know what they're feeding you. So let me break it down for you. Terrence Howard and Taraji Henson might be the stars of Empire, but these are the people who made them stars. These are the people who will determine how bright their star will shine and how long their star will shine. These are the persons who call the shots, not them. And while you're fixating on them, you don't know nothing about the people who are pulling the strings. All right. Why? Because you asleep. You dead. And watching this program gives you life. Temporarily. Makes you feel good. Temporarily. It's just a temporary fix. So let's break them down one by one. Danny Strong. Empire is his brainchild. Who is Danny Strong? Danny Strong was raised in a Jewish household in Manhattan Beach, California. Right? Danny Strong, as a young child, had an interest in films because there was a video store right around the corner from his house. And the clerk who ran the video store was a young man by the name of Quentin Tarantino. And Quentin Tarantino would talk to him for hours on end about movies. So his love for movies, his love for writing movies, his love for writing movies about black folk and black content came from Quentin Tarantino. All right? So Quentin inspired him and he got a job in television. He starred in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He starred in the Gilmore Girls. And then he realized that working in front of the camera ain't where it's at. The money, the action is behind the camera. All right? The action is writing. So he began to learn how to write movies and went on to win awards for writing Recount, the story of the 2000 election. This was on HBO. Good movie, real good movie. He wrote this, sold it to HBO. He went on to write Game Change, the story about the 2008 election, the story about Sarah Palin. He wrote that story and received an award for writing that story. Right? He also wrote The Butler. He wrote The Butler. He wrote that story that got black folks so excited. A white boy wrote the story that got black folk excited. He also wrote Mockingjay, part 1 and part 2. So this man has made millions of dollars writing screenplays, and he is positioned now to become the 21st century Alex Haley. He's gonna write the narrative for black folk for the next 20 years. He's already proven, he already has the bona fides. And empire means that he is a star. So you all have made this man a star. And wait till you see what he's done. He is the equivalent of Dr. Frankenstein. All right? He is the equivalent of Dr. Frankenstein, and we be the monster. All right? So let's understand the process. Danny Strong conceived of empire while he was driving through the streets of LA. He had just finished, he and Lee Daniels had just finished The Butler, right? So he's driving through LA, listening to the radio, and he hears an interview with Puff Daddy and Jay-Z. And he gets this idea about writing a movie about the rap industry. And he decides he's gonna write this movie modeling it on two white classics, King Lear, about this crazy king and his three daughters, as well as The Lion in Winter, a movie about another crazy king who imprisoned his wife and his three sons, who he manipulates all at a Christmas dinner. It's mayhem. Mayhem, award-winning mayhem. So this was his inspiration to infuse European insanity onto a movie about black folk in the music business. So he went to his girlfriend, his friend, Lee Daniels, and said, look, I got this great idea for a movie. And Lee listened and said, yeah, okay, that sounds good. But we can do better, all right? I also forgot to mention that another obvious inspiration for empire is Hustle and Flow. Because if you check it out, Hustle and Flow came out 10 years ago. So empire is essentially Hustle and Flow 10 years later, all right? 10 years later. And Hustle and Flow won an Academy Award, didn't it? What did it win an Academy Award for? Best song. And what was that best song? It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp. Now, let's be serious. Was that the best song of 2010? No. But it's all about, and the group, what was the name of the group that made that song? 3-6 Mafia, but the name originally was 666 Mafia. But as they got big, they said, no, the community that you're gonna deal with will get negative thoughts about 666 and know that you're the devil. So we just call you 3-6 Mafia, and people won't respond to you the same way. This whole thing is about manipulation. So they gave them the Oscar for It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp, and as a consequence, them receiving the Oscar sent a message to every young, impressionable, ignorant black child and said, if you want to make it in Hollywood, if you want to win an Oscar, if you want to get paid, then you write songs like It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp. So they'll forget about Dr. Ben and they'll think about 3-6 Mafia. They don't want to hear Oshawa Crazy. They want to hear Poop Doggy Dog and Half a Dollar and these Negres, right? So, I want y'all to watch the trailer for Hustle and Flow and realize that Hustle and Flow was the daddy of empire.
It's like all my days, I've been hearing this beat in my head, man. Like a pounding, but then sometimes, man, it get real soft. Man, it's like I can't be stopped. Go! I'm gonna make these suckers recognize I ain't playing ho. If you violate off the top trick, you gotta go. Woo!
His words tell the story.
It's hard out here for a pimp, man, for real. Hold on, I like that, man. It's hard out here for a pimp.
Of the only life he's ever known.
I'm here trying to squeeze $1 out of a dime, and I ain't even got a cent.
Takes time, DJ. The only family he's ever had.
Put your hands right here. You know what this means? It means I can believe in you the same way you believe in me.
And the only chance he'll ever get
You ain't never gonna be nothing more than what you is right now.
To break free.
My daddy, you know, his heart gave out on him when he was my age. It got me feeling like this is it for me.
Feel that.
You know it's hard out here for a pimp.
Hey, man. For Shelby. We bring him in, help him develop our sound.
You know he white, right?
No, he just light-skinned.
You know it's hard out here for a pimp.
In my eyes, I done seen some crazy things in the streets.
Come on, Skinny Black.
Skinny Black used to spin them little records over in my school.
Last one they put out with Platinum.
Even if he does listen to what we got, man, we still don't know what he gonna do.
This dog got him some tricks, man. This is my life, and it's a battle within.
Skinny, this is the man I was telling you about. This here the man.
Just give me a chance to get my voice heard.
Every man has the right to contribute a verse.
Let me sing like you do. Meant the world to me.
You in charge. I want to hear you say that. You my partner. Say it.
I'm in charge.
Everybody got to have a dream.
Yeah, it's a 1 in a million shot.
I'm gonna dream big. Cause sometimes that's what you gotta do.
Hustle and flow.
It ain't the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight
in the dog.
I'ma step my game up and get what's coming.
Same two stars in Hustle and Flow are in Empire. It's not a stretch. And just as a white person wrote Empire, a white person wrote Hustle and Flow. White folk manipulating the Walking Dead. That's what we're seeing, right? And so Danny Strong pitched this to Lee Daniels, and Lee Daniels said, all right, we got something with this, but instead of a movie, let's do a television series. We'll get more yardage, we'll get more money, we'll get more power, we'll get more popularity. And he said that, all right, but we'll do it as a television program and we'll model it after my favorite television programs, Dallas and Dynasty. Families and dramas and families, but it said it'll be black families with black drama. And that's how we're gonna make our money. So they shopped Empire around to networks, and because of the success of Shonda Rhimes, because of the success of Grey's Anatomy, because of the success of Scandal, because of the success of How to Get Away with Murder, Shonda Rhimes' creations, this black woman created these programs which are changing television, which have changed television. They said we can step into the window of opportunity that Shonda Rhimes has created for us and take this thing to another level. That's how they pitched Empire to television studios. And so they shopped it around. They went to all the major television studios and said, we're gonna see who's gonna give us the best deal. And they wound up going with Fox, right? They wound up going with Fox because of Fox's commitment to promoting the show. They put millions of dollars into promoting the show and making us want it even before it aired. That's programming, that's manipulation, that's brainwashing. So why would Fox do that? Why? Because Fox built their reputation off of pimping black folk. They got their start with In Living Color. Fox was nothing before they started broadcasting black programs, right? And then after they made their money, secured their position, they kicked black folk to the curb and said, we don't need you no more. We got our position, and now we can move on and do what we want to do, because it's hard out here for a pimp, right? Kicked their hoes to the curb and went on to do other things. They went on to become a major player in shaping the minds of ignorant white folk through their news broadcasts. Fox News broadcast. It distorts the truth. It lies. It tells half-truths. That's what Fox does. And black folk gave Fox the money to do that. We gave them the money because we supported their programming, because we couldn't look beyond the obvious. Roger Ailes, the president of Fox News Channel, said the truth It's whatever people will believe. Right? It's whatever, and we tell you what to believe. And his motto is, if I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. That's how they function. And so do you know that Fox News is banned in Canada as news? Canada realizes this stuff ain't real. This stuff is manipulation, it's lies, and you cannot broadcast Fox in Canada. So what's wrong with Americans? What is wrong with Americans? And so let's be clear about a couple of things. Black folk watch more television than any people in the world. African Americans watch more television than any people in the world. African Americans, the children of African Americans, watch more television than any people on this planet. African American children have more televisions in their bedrooms than any other people in the world. So we're constantly internalizing this brainwashing. Television is a babysitter for too many of our sisters. Too many of our sisters. And so what are the stats? The stats, and this is from Nielsen, who keeps records of everything that goes on in television because they determine the advertising rate for television programs. Nielsen says who watches the most television and why. This is based on research that was done in 2011. In November 2010, African Americans used their television an average of 7 hours, 12 minutes each day, far above the US total of 5 hours and 11 minutes. So it's worse now than it was in 2011. Right? Asians use their television the least, just 3 hours. So just look at it, just understand, the more television you watch, the more ignorant you're gonna become. That's right. The less television you watch, the better you will excel in school. Who excels in the classroom? Asians, Chinese and Indians. Because their parents understand, turn off the television. Most of them don't even have a television. They're preparing their children to run the world, not to try to be a pimp or a hustler, a basketball player. They're raising their children to buy the basketball teams, buy the baseball teams, and then hire the Negres to make money for you. Hire the Negres to get brain concussions, right? They're preparing their children to be the rulers of the world. African Americans spend more time on media across all platforms. We watch more television than the general population. We read more magazines than the general population. We spend more time listening to the radio. We watch twice as much radio as other people in the United States. So what that means to advertisers is that we are the ultimate consumers. We consume everything. And they know that. Everybody's making money off of us, billions of dollars off of us. So how does that relate? A 60-minute television program is 44 minutes of programming, 16 minutes of advertising. 30-minute program is 22 minutes of programming, 8 minutes of advertising. Advertising sells the program, drives it. Do you all know that the most expensive time advertising on television is during the Super Bowl? Yeah, that's right. 30 seconds of commercial airtime during the Super Bowl cost this past January $4.5 million, $9 million a minute. $9 million a minute. Why? Because over 200 million people all over the world are going to watch that program, and they are going to be drawn into the commercials. So now they do programs just on the commercials for Super Bowl, because it's all about money. So let's drill down a little bit deeper. 30 seconds of advertising rates for 2014. The Walking Dead is the greatest moneymaker on television. It's cable now, right? So they sell their airtime for $413,000 per 30 seconds. And they make $6.5 million an hour. That's money. Big Bang Theory on commercial television, half-an-hour program. They are the highest rated television program in terms of viewership, because it's all about the number of people who are watching. The more people are watching, the more money they're going to spend on the advertisers, on their products. So their advertising rate is $327,000 for 30 seconds. They make $2.6 million a minute. Then comes American Idol. Then comes Scandal, clocking in at $217,000 per 30 seconds, or $3.4 million a minute. How to Get Away with Murder, $164,000 per 30 seconds, $2.6 million. I'm sorry, Scandal does $3.4 million a minute. How to Get Away with Murder does $2.6 million a minute. Shonda Rhimes is in the top 3. You know, Grey's Anatomy makes $2.5 million a minute. Blackish, which is a new program, just came out this season, $137,000 per 30 seconds, $1 million per minute. Glee, Law and Order, Empire, the Empire pilot. They sold the pilot for Empire back last July. See, that's when they sell the advertising rates for their programs. They have a meeting with all the advertisers, with all the manufacturers, and they show them their lineup for the fall. And based on the lineup, they determine what the 30-second advertising rate is going to be. So in July of 2014, before Empire even aired, they sold it for $140,000 per minute. $2.25 million. $140,000 per 30 seconds. $2.25 million per minute. That was before it aired. And now, after 11 weeks, Empire is above Big Bang Theory. So you can just imagine when Empire comes back, how much that program is going to sell for. Why? Because black folk are making white folk extremely, extremely rich. They love y'all for that. And they're going to keep giving you more and more and more because of all of the money that you're making them. And you think it's just entertainment? Right. They know it's all about the money. They know that. They're laughing all the way to the bank. So here's the stats for Empire for the 12 episodes. And you can see each week, this is their rating share, 3.8. Now they anticipated, before Empire aired, they anticipated that their rating share would be about 1.4, which constitutes about maybe 2.5 to 3 million viewers. They figured it would take them a year or two to build up to the numbers. But they are the first program in 15 years to have their viewership increase every single week, more and more. So they went from 9.9 million the first week, 10.32 million, 11.7, 11.36, 11.47, 11.96, 13.2, 13.9, 14.3, 14.90, 15.82, and the last hour of Empire, you had 17.5 million people watching. That's money, folks. And that's all they're looking at, the numbers. Y'all made Empire, y'all made a whole lot of white folk rich.
My name came up a lot of sounds, more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. My name came up a lot of sounds, more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. My name came up a lot of sounds. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
Day we hustle, but the night we
know that these brothers my guys. Know that they fly. Know that they fly. Know that they ride or die. Cold, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly. Know that they fly. Know that they ride or die. CJ Ike, they ain't no longer about. They ain't no longer about. They ain't no longer about. CJ Ike, they ain't no longer about.
me, so I'm like, okay, cause I low-key, I've been thinking about you all day. Get right over here, obey the traffic lights. Come and get this cake, cause I'ma be a slice. Yeah, we gon' take our time, we gon' make it right. Read the story night. Got that ancient aura.
How much of that money are you all getting back? How much of that time that you invest in that program? Because time is money, right? So how much of that time that you invested in that program are you getting back? You're not getting a return on your investment? There's something wrong with that relationship. Yeah. There's something dreadfully wrong with that relationship. So all of this is determined by the main demographic, folk between the ages of 18 and 49. Those are the targets. Everybody in here between the age of 18 and 49, raise your hand. Everybody between the ages of 18 and 49. You all are the target. Why? Because you're the largest percentage of the population and you have disposable income. And they're programming you to buy. Y'all the target. Y'all the ones who are making them rich. All right? So all of this stuff is for you. Isn't that nice? They're doing all of this for you. So, without a doubt, the star of Empire is Cookie Lyons. She's loud, she's large and in charge, and she would throw down in a heartbeat. Sister ain't playing. Her former husband even called her on a couple of times, called her a ghetto rat. You ain't nothing but a ghetto rat, because she's crass, right? Cookie is a force of nature. And she steals every scene that she's in. She's hilarious. She's got these great one-liners, these great zingers. She tears people down in a second with her words. She is the ultimate cookie monster, right? So let's look at some of the highlights of Cookie, right? She says, I'm here to get what's mine, right? Cookie says, Cookie, that's my name, take a bite, huh? Yeah, she's inviting, right? She's engaging. So better be glad that I don't feel like no singing today because I'd shut it down. How many sisters you all know are just like that? Whole lot of folk can relate to. I know about 5 people. And 3 of them are in my family. Just like Cookie. And so mirror neurons, you see that, you like that, you know who Cookie is. Everybody knows a Cookie. Right? Everybody's got a Cookie in their family. Cookie says, just because I asked Jesus to forgive you, don't mean I do, huh? Cookie don't play. Cookie don't take no mess, right? The streets ain't made for everybody. That's why they made sidewalks, huh? It's got a sharp wit, a mean bite. Sister does not play. And if y'all saw the last episode, Cookie really showed her behind, didn't she? She really showed her behind. So Cookie is modeling for sisters how it's all right, how appropriate it is for you to behave. Because Cookie's a star. Everybody loves Cookie. Everybody's talking about Cookie. I read an interview in Entertainment Weekly, and my girl Taraji was talking about the people who write her about her character. And she talked about the pictures that are emailed to her. What did she say? Mothers email her pictures of their young children dressed like little cookies. So I want you to just imagine 3 years from now, hundreds of thousands of cookies in every high school, in every city, all throughout the United States. I want you to understand what Empire is going to create. The cookie monsters that Empire is going to create. So let's look at the context in which all of this is happening. Let's be real. There are more sisters in prison now than at ever any point in time in history. Let's look at the stats. Black women. The number of black women in prison has increased. The number of women has increased steadily. And the vast majority, over 50% of those people in prison, those females in prison, are sisters. Why? Because of the Cookie Monster consciousness. Why? Because of the Nicki Minaj consciousness that they're listening to. And they feel it's all right to say these things. They feel it's all right to dress like this. They feel it's all right to act like that. Turning our sisters into monsters. And Jabari said it at the top of the program, trying to work with these sisters. He's talking about how off the chain our young girls are. Yes. They will never be women. They will never be women. Never, ever. How many of you all saw 2 weeks ago that fight in McDonald's in Brooklyn, where 5 teenage girls beat the snot out of this sister? And when that thing went down, and do I have to cue it up? Let me cue it up again. When that thing went down, notice all the people in McDonald's who were standing around watching these girls, black people now, standing around watching these sisters beat the snot out of this sister.
The video starts when the fight is well underway. The girl in the blue sweatshirt clearly outnumbered by the group of girls that are beating down on her. Even after the victim is lying on the ground, one of her attackers strikes again, kicking her in the head. People just stand around her, jeering and not coming to her aid.
I felt bad for the girl.
Did you do anything to try to stop them?
I didn't do anything because I didn't know what was really going on. I was kind of scared, I ain't gonna lie.
Police say this gang assault happened on Monday at 2:50 p.m. inside this McDonald's on Flatbush Avenue. But they say they were not aware of the beating until today when they saw the video. The victim of this beating never filed a police report.
This was a gang assault.
Community activist Tony Hubbard spoke out today, urging the victim to come forward and to tell police what happened. He also urged her attackers to turn themselves in.
We have names, we have pictures, we have video of all these individuals, so save the taxpayers' money and bring yourself forward.
According to police, both the victim and her attacker are 16 years old, students from nearby Erasmus High School. School officials are helping the NYPD identify the people in the video.
This is not entertainment. This is a life that could have been taken here, and you are standing around laughing like this is entertainment for you to look at. Get off the reality TV shows and get into reality.
Once it's posted on the web, it goes all over the world. And everybody is watching this. And everybody is asking the question, what's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all? Why are your children out of control? Ain't no other children in the world this dysfunctional. Why are we comfortable with it? So let's be clear. Let's understand very, 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 very clearly what's happening. All right, this stuff, just imagine this stuff happening every day in cities all around the country, because it's already happening every week. And with the advancement of Empire, it's going to be happening more and more and more. Those of you all who watched the last episode of Empire, y'all saw that throwdown? Y'all saw those sisters going at it. And I read in Entertainment Weekly, they were describing that scene, that fight scene. It took them 2 hours to film that fight scene that lasted less than 30 seconds. It took them 2 hours to film it. And Debbie Allen was the director, right? And while they were filming that scene, everybody on the cast was saying, whip that hoe, whip that hoe, whip that. That's the energy that goes into creating what you all are consuming, right? So remember those mirror neurons, huh? What you all are seeing, what you all are internalizing. You may not hear them saying the words, but all of that went into that fight scene. So when you watch it, it goes into you. It affects you on a cellular level. It changes your DNA. And if there's not somebody in your household to say, baby, you don't need to be watching that. You need to understand. I need to protect you from that nonsense. Because if I don't, you're going to think it's all right to gang up and beat down somebody that you might have a small beef with. Ruin your life. Go to jail. Why? Because Cookie inspired you. You want to be like Cookie. What are we doing to protect our children? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves. And so, television is nothing to play with. It ain't just entertainment, all right? And I'm afraid that empire would do the masses of black people more harm than good.
Abonner à la chaîne, cela nous aide énormément pour l'évolution et le référencement de la chaîne.